Alrighty, good evening, everybody. I would like to call to order the regular tree board meeting of September 4th. The roll call, please.
Connie Anderson here. Barb Ginther here. Bill Ginther.
Present.
Laura Henderson here. Laura Koch.
Present.
Johnny Stimley is absent. And Mick Wolf.
I'm also present.
Okay, we have a quorum.
Alrighty. Everybody have a chance to read over the minutes from August.
Move for approval.
I'll second.
Everybody in favor?
Aye.
The August minutes have been approved. The Secretary's Treasurer's Report ending August 30th.
I move for approval.
Second.
Everybody in favor?
Aye.
Claims are for September. That would be Debbie Wilson, Secretary of Services, for $200, and board member compensation for attendance.
Motion approved.
I'll second.
Everybody in favor?
Aye.
Claims for September have been approved. Any kind of communications?
Yes, over at 204 Hilltop, there was a request to remove an existing tree there, and Sue Downs, the building commissioner, had connected with us. She knew that we were getting somebody new on board to position to make that approval, but this came, these people have been very patient at this residence and in regards to getting approval on that tree, and I forwarded an email this afternoon, and they're going to be forwarding it to you too.
Wonderful.
And we're happy to help with that as well, but I wasn't sure of the protocol that you guys wanted to work with, so I think that that's one thing that we will need to talk about, whether it's today or come up with for that.
But this one here, as we discussed, is a invasive species.
It is.
But it is alive.
It is, and it's over 8 inches by far.
You know, I personally, in my experience, I don't, that tree there was going to cause more problems down the line, but it's not in the budget for the city to deal with it
No,
itself.
and the person was going to go ahead and take care of it themselves financially. So, that being said, for consideration, it is an invasive tree.
Right. What is it?
It's a tree of heaven. Ailanthus.
I'm not surprised.
And it's big. It's very big. There's a bunch of babies around it.
Of course.
Yes. So, we can go on site. We've got the address for that and do official approval, but I didn't feel comfortable, of course, moving forward on anything like that until we had a protocol of how you wanted to approach it. So
Right.
I think that's one that has been on the board, obviously, for quite some time through the last 2 foresters. They've been patient about it, so we'll want to take a look at that.
Sure.
Alrighty. Any other type of communications? Anything, Deb? No. Okay. Real quick before committee reports here, I would like to introduce the forester from Michigan City, Jessica Arnett. Everybody?
Hi. Welcome aboard.
Thank you. I'm really excited to be here.
That's good.
Looking forward to learning from all of you and working with all of you. And
We're excited to have you. Welcome.
For the public, this is the third forester of the year here. Hopefully, we'll start moving around with some of the requests that you all are here for. So the city has not been neglecting you. It's been looking very hard and very deep for qualified people. All right. Outreach team, that's myself, Mick Wolf, Laura Kalk, and Laura Henderson. Education, gardening, public relations, calendar events, Arbor Day. So, in which Jessica here has a very good talent in this type of endeavor. So, I think we should do very well there. So, Laura, anything here for the fall that we're coming into here?
Well, I think one thing I always want to highlight as we head into fall, everybody always thinks spring for planting, but fall is a very nice low stress time to do your tree planting, especially larger things, but anything, there are some things, smaller broadleaf evergreens and items like that you don't want to go too far past end of October to plant, but really most deciduous trees, evergreen trees, the further you get into that cooler weather, that is the time to do it and the time to install and plant. So take advantage of those rains that are to come and the cooler temperatures. Go ahead and get that planting in while you can. I do also want to bring up one thing I always do this part of the season, and that's because I want everybody to get ahead of the game on trimming of their trees. Usually as we head into late October through the winter, maybe March, the window is getting shorter and shorter, especially for the oaks, because you have to be really, really careful about any transferring diseases and insect issues. And that goes along with a lot of other trees too. So it's specific to each variety. But now is the time to really get on the arborist list. If you have a specific arborist that is fully insured with liability insurance and workman's comp, please. You can check the list that the city does offer, but you should also have your check additionally on that insurance and make sure that they're covered fully. But now is the time to sign up with them and make sure and get on their list so that they can make sure you're taken care of. Hi, Jenny. Make sure you're getting taken care of this fall and winter season so it's a safer time. Bringing up that, insurance and workman's comp, that is actually, even if it's listed on a paperwork somewhere, that is something that you can request from that tree trimmer or arborist to be sent directly from you or to you from their insurance company. So it's something that's really, really easy and completely normal to request. So feel comfortable out there. And please do check into that. That's really, really important for everybody's safety. But it's not only the tree guy, it's you guys at your property too. Other than that, does anybody else have anything else in particular? No?
Okay, move down the list here. City park trees. Have you talked to the park? Have you introduced yourself to the people in the park? Or?
Yeah, I'm actually meeting with Shannon Easton next week. So we've set aside a time to, meet and get me brought up to speed on, everything that they were working with together. So, yes.
Okay. We did talk about off the record about the tree walk and trying to get that moving again here with Laura and who else
I'm
is-
excited to see what Jessica brings into it though too. I think she's seen a little from out and about in some different areas. So she's already mentioned a couple of things I think will be exciting. So
Well, I love this idea.
Well, that's good.
And, when I saw it on the agenda and kind of took a look at, what the parks, what they've got for their master plan so far.
yeah, it's been, gosh, I don't know how many years I've even
Yeah.
been on the board now, but it was when I first started on the board, we just kind of talked about it a little and we dabbled in it a little, but it's been a minute since, everything has been able to take off running, but now is the time where
Absolutely.
so.
Yeah, and, residents love that kind of thing.
Yeah.
They do.
Well, good. I'm looking forward to working on it with you. Excellent.
Okay. Any more park tree? Okay. City street trees. Anything going on?
It's been just a lot of catch up for me, so kind of going through, different work orders for inspecting different city trees that we get calls about throughout. I think I had some, going back nearly a year, so just kind of trying to work back on that list, get some things crossed off. Had to remove a few, but I've only been here for a little while, and these were pretty, beyond, no signs of life at all. Yeah, so, and, it was in our best interests to go ahead and do that. But yeah, just moving through that list. I don't know if you guys heard, we had a large city tree actually at the corner of Garfield and Tennessee. Yesterday in the windstorm, it came down on 2 houses. And it was not one that I would have ever anticipated would go. So
That's a wicked storm.
It was.
Yeah, with the winds.
Yeah. Well, the service that came and removed it for us asked if it had been struck by lightning because they couldn't even figure out why it had gone. So
Where was that?
Garfield in Tennessee.
Which service did we use in that one?
That was Loggins.
Okay. Loggins is one of, we have to look at the workman's comp side.
See their insurance. Okay.
Okay. because when he turned in his insurance, he didn't have it last time.
Okay. Good to know.
And that's not our, that's actually.
State law, right?
That's in the planning department. That's with any city services. The city cannot be liable for.
Right.
Okay. Anything other than that? It sounds like you're off and running.
Yeah, just trying to catch up on all of those, and making some progress, I think. So.
Okay. I'll end the next couple here. Grant applications and maintenance. Jessica did reach out to the state forester and was looking in the office for stuff for applications that were in the works, I guess, or weren't in the works. So we'll see if there is anything that has been done about them. Purchasing and tree planting. Nothing on that at this point in time. We have some issues that we will talk about here in new business with regards to that. Planning department. I didn't see anything that affected us in planning. But hopefully we will get a little bit better ideas that are coming from the planning department. The urban forest management plan, which you did have a meeting, and this is the inventory, the new inventory, the grant that we received for the city to have the tree inventory brought up to date. So that was the initial.
We have a project designation number from NDOT.net, and so that allows us to move forward in their system. And so what Craig Phillips and I did last week was sit down, pull up the very thick manuals they have for how to embark on a project like this, and essentially just go through what it was we needed in order to put together an RFP. The kinds of categorization things that we need to know and what's going to work best for this kind of project. And then we also reached out to the city planner in LaPorte. I'm spacing on her name right now, but they did the same thing. They're in the middle of it right now, and so she sent us the RFPs that they put together. So we're not going to have to reinvent the wheel. We can use that as a template, and hopefully Craig is back in the office and available to meet with me the week of the 16th. And so we're going to hopefully sit down and hammer out a draft. And then I believe the next step from there is to send it to our project manager for review at NDOT, and then go from there. And then hopefully we can get it advertised and, get some bids and move on with it. So, yeah, getting the wheels churning.
Okay. Thank you. The Tree City designation, we did go over with Jessica when that would be due. So we'll be looking into that. Alrighty. Goals, fundraising efforts.
Well, we had a very nice workshop that Laura hosted at the Garden Center, and we were able to sit down, and Laura has drawn up some preliminary plans for the zoo garden, and those will be
ready the end of this month.
The end of this month, so then we can all probably get a copy or something and see what's going on. And a lot of headway was made. I think a lot of ideas.
Yeah, those are great ideas. I think I'm officially going to hire Johnny at the Garden Center.
I think so too.
There's so many It was inspiring. It was a really great meeting. So
it was. And so then we had a chance to go, Laura and I went, I think you've already seen her, Johnny took us over to the actual garden site, and so we could see, where it's at and what it's going to look at, and we're very excited about it. I think it's in a lovely location. I think that we're going to be very happy with that area there and what we can do. And so do you want to add anything to that? I mean, as far as, do we have a planting?
I do want to talk about, how Johnny also, you had gotten the fencing donated too.
Yeah, I did
That was
get
exciting.
200 feet of vinyl fencing donated.
Yeah.
He was selling it for $460, and he donated to the tree board in the Washington Park Zoo. So, and we did find the water tap too there. So, it seems like things are moving forward pretty good, and anxious to get it underway.
Yeah, it's moving pretty quickly. I mean, once the idea got sort of put together and cemented, I think it's going very well. My question is, are we in the process of going to plant trees this year?
I'd love to plant in October if we can, and I think the only thing that we're going to need to do, even if we just do the trees, the only thing that we're going to need to do is just make sure that, and Johnny and I had talked about it, and he's already going to be putting up the fencing, so we're establishing those exact lines of measurement and making sure that any existing trees we're keeping all that in mind with the design and fitting that in if we need to, or making some adjustments.
So we do have hopefully a plan to do some work there.
Yeah, I would recommend that we go ahead and install the trees in October. Just to move forward on that, and I know that, I don't know when you're doing the fencing.
We'll be doing the fencing in about another 2 weeks out. Like I said, we got around 200 feet, but the measurements are 130 by 40. So, we'll have to purchase a little bit more, but I do have $500 from the Washington Park Zoo to do that. So we should have all the fencing up in the next, I give it 3 weeks.
Good.
Which was a big thing for us. We just want to make sure it was fenced in.
Right,
We're not having
have any issues.
Animal-wise.
Now, as to the labor that's involved here, do we want to see if the kids from the zoo would want to participate in that, or
I'll do the fencing with
No, I know, but I mean like the planting. I was thinking more. I mean, who?
Well, the planting of the trees are already donated, but I would really think that the best approach for the kids to do is when we build the boxes and start doing the pollinator flowers. Laura, that was a great idea. And, some of the smaller plantings, I think it's going to be a perfect time for them to come in. And I think that should be the start of this next spring. Starting to get that built. And it'll all be about the financing, though, of the rest of the project. But, after our meeting, we have, some really fun and fantastic ideas, which you guys will see and we'll talk about, but I want to keep in mind the approachability, and that was great that Johnny really said that, of things that we can tackle right away and have the community involved in. If you guys do want the kids to be involved with the tree planting, they're small trees, they are smaller trees, but I just think that it'll be a better situation if they're involved in the smaller plantings.
No, that's fine. I didn't realize you had taken care of already.
Donated.
All right, that's what I was wondering, who was going to do that, if we had to get that put together.
I would say to at least do there's 6 apple trees, columnar apple trees, at least get those in. And if there's anything, there's other things, there's blueberry bushes, and there's raspberry bushes and strawberries. But if we don't have the proper boxing or layout
for them,
you don't want to put those in yet, but those can be held for whenever you're ready, because those are perennial. So they'll come back.
We are really excited about this.
I know, it's moving fast already.
I know. So any of you that don't know what we're talking about, our basically fundraiser has been targeted toward a zoo garden, and basically there will be, of course, apple trees and different trees, fruit trees and berries and that sort of thing. And we're not really sure now. There will be other things, I'm sure, but we have a plot of land, and basically we're going to be working on that as our fundraiser. That's our goal. So just to let all of you know what's going on. So I think that's about it.
I think it's going to be a really motivating focus, though. You know, that we'll have that kind of bone
Yeah.
structure in place, and it'll be very approachable to where we'll be able to put our funds each time.
I would like to mention something too, because I think Johnny agrees with me on this, but Laura had an excellent idea that I just loved the more I thought about it, and I got that list that you sent of the city-owned properties, and of us planting little mini forests on those properties that are sitting there vacant, that might be a project if we ever decided to tackle something else too, you know, would be to start planting trees on those vacant properties.
And like you said, I did get a list of city-owned properties, and I don't know if I sent it to the whole board or not, but I'll
have it, yeah.
I'll forward it to
Yeah.
those that didn't get it.
It's a lot. I was surprised. Yeah.
Alrighty.
We're just full of ideas. You just hang on, you guys.
Alright, anything else under that item? Alright, we'll move down the line. Old business, we're still dealing with the workman's comp issue. Application for planting trees in the tree lawn. We did talk to Jessica about that.
Well, we have it already, so we'll just submit it to her. We'll just send it on over to her and see what you think and make sure it's all good. We'll go back and forth about it.
Yeah, for sure.
And then, perfect.
Okay, new business. Guess this is our NIPSCO business. We do have to take a stand with NIPSCO here. They owe us a lot of work for work that they did and hasn't been completed. Namely, a lot of stump removals throughout the city. That was their big push that they wanted when they did tell us about this endeavor they wanted to undertake. I don't think they have removed any of the stumps. They did promise a 2-for-1 replacement value. That has not been discussed with them yet. I did give the main NIPSCO foresters number to Jessica, so we need to really start holding them accountable. There's areas down Pine Street, Lakeshore Drive, US 12. They're all around the city. Jessica, you probably would figure out if you see a stump under a line, jot down the address. Because we could probably see if we haven't done many, few removals ourselves. Most of them were done by them.
Right.
They need to get those gone, and we need a good accurate count. My last accounting was somewhere in the 200 tree range.
Wow, that many? Yeah.
You know, 2-for-1, there's gotta be, I got 30 just going down Lakeshore Drive. And then you're going out toward down Pine Street by Elston there's a handful down those streets in there.
And those have been a longer standing issue than our most recent 4th Street situation, which they were ready to jump on. So I wonder why these are put to a halt, the initial ones.
I know they went down, I think, York Street, Washington Park Boulevard too, because I know I got some calls from some residents in that neighborhood.
So, I think if we don't hear anything, we're gonna have to call Arbormetric and NIPSCO in on this deal, because it's gonna really set back any type of tree planting.
Right.
So that's why when we talked about purchasing and tree planting, I think this year there's not going to be a huge push for that. I think we should probably try to get our ducks in a row as far as tree planting for this fall.
Yeah, because
I'd like to see Jessica get her feet underneath her a little bit more. I don't know, thoughts from the board here?
Well, I'm concerned about the $50,000 that
I
the
am
city
too.
passed for us,
Yeah.
and that
We
we
need to
will
use
lose
it, yeah.
if we don't.
We need to use it.
Yeah.
Maybe we won't have them delivered, but we need to order them and pay for them, so that money is taken care of. Otherwise, it'll go bye-bye.
Well, Johnny, we talked about that. Can it be reappropriated, or how can we save it?
I'll sit with Jessica at the budget hearings, and I'll explain, how we had the $50,000. We went through a couple foresters we had in place. That's why it hasn't been used yet. Every time we set up some kind of plan, I know I worked with Adam real close, and a few of the others did too. And when we had a plan in place, boom, then Melissa had, so I'll explain. I'll set in the budget with you for the tree cord, and see, and like I said, if she has any questions or any way I can help with anything, just give me a ring too beforehand.
Okay.
I'll give you my number and everything after the meeting.
I think that's how we're going to deal with the 50,000, which is very graceful for the city and the mayor to
Right.
help us out.
it is.
So grateful.
Yeah.
But at the same rate, we have to spend that money wisely to get more someday down the line.
Agreed.
I mean, if there's something that comes up between here and probably October 15th that we can't really toss away, then we can look at that, but we only got a month window.
Right.
And then, the vector control side of your job they're going to be out there picking up leaves, and that's might as well throw in the towel there. So, that's just my only concern. Alrighty.
All right, do we have any thoughts or recommendations on how to spend this money on such a short notice is what I'm thinking. We don't have much time to find a good, purpose for this money in that amount, other than, like Laura said, possibly ordering trees, but even that could be wasteful if we don't get them.
Well, if I understood correctly, we're talking about explaining it to the city and
Exactly how we had the plans and set, like I said before, we had plans set up and everything else, but it just didn't get followed through with.
Well, earlier in the spring, we had Woodruff's was going out of business.
I saw that in the minutes that I was reading.
And he was literally going to give us trees. We just had to get the baskets and the manpower to get them done. They were great city street trees. They would have been, but he's done. So, we lived and learned on that one. So, if something comes knocking on your door, then we consider it in the next 30 days.
Yeah, bring it to us,
I will,
because
sure.
we're hoping not to lose that
Right.
money.
Well, and I would think that the turnover would be considered a pretty significant mitigating
Well, we
circumstance
hope.
there.
I
Yeah,
hope so, right.
But if it isn't, we need to be ready.
exactly.
Yeah.
To make sure it goes to the appropriate spot. I think we can do that. We just have to do that within the month.
That's all. No problem.
Alrighty. Any other questions or any on this item? All right. Any other new business?
No,
That's there.
That's just,
Okay.
packet for that single one, so.
Board member comments?
we have to approve the
We have to approve the budget.
Okay. All right. I guess that was a new business we moved. Oops. Okay. Currently, the budget is $66,459 for salaries, $20 in office supplies, $200 in membership dues, $100 in education. The proposed budget is would be $6,459. Salaries for salaries, $100 for office supplies, $500 for memberships, and $1,000 for education. We did increase that for Jessica for any type of ISA, that's the agricultural education type of things, throughout the year, any kind of additional memberships, stuff like that. So that's where the increases came from, and that's what they'll be used for. So,
And I mean, it's not a lot of money, but it's a significant increase at the office supplies.
The books, wasn't
It
it
went
for the
from
books
20 to
you wanted to
100.
get her?
books, anything like that. That's good. I'm sure
Well, we
Debbie
had
could
ordered
probably
that
use some new
book.
stuff too.
We had ordered that book, didn't we, for, what did we really do?
For Adam.
For Adam.
Did Adam take it with him?
This book in question is the tree appraisals.
Okay.
Okay.
Should be.
That's just the title.
Some trees appraisals,
Okay.
like
Value
edition
of
15
replacement.
of some sort or another.
Okay. I haven't seen it in the office.
It's a small paperback.
Oh, okay.
It's probably
Right.
that
Okay.
tall, I think.
All right.
That is kind of the Bible
Sure.
where we
Significant, yeah.
would value trees, car accidents, anything that's been mauled,
Sure.
that we can either pass off to the insurance companies or held as a claim for such purposes.
Okay.
Okay, once the city is set up for the budget hearings, there will be key posts on the hearing dates. Whoever wants to attend can, let them know. Ask for any additional funds in the budget. That is what it is.
Does anybody have any other concerns or questions about those numbers in any way?
So our total budget was how much? The total?
A little over $8,000. $8,059.
I move for approval.
I'd second.
Everybody in favor?
Aye.
The proposed budget on the worksheet here is approved by all of the tree board. Okay. Any other things? Any other new business? Okay, we'll be back down to the board member comments.
Are we thinking or thought about doing something at the zoo?
We have done that in the past years. It's up to you all, really, if you want to do something.
It's October 19th. I know there's 2 sessions. I might be wrong about the times. 11:30 to 1, and I believe 3:30 to 5. But I can get you that information, and if you let me know if you want to do it, the way it works is there's certain levels of candy. If you want to buy candy from us, it's what it's $100. The kids get one piece, 200, something like that. But if you want to bring yourself, you can too. So, but there's no cost, no fee to participate.
Do we dress up? Is it?
You can dress up. You
You can
can
just do anything.
put banners.
Well, I didn't know if there was something.
I heard it's such a great time. Everybody says it's
Yeah,
We
whatever
can
you.
dress up like trees.
I like it.
But they do. They do dress up, and
That would be cute.
and if you do it the whole day, the zoo does provide lunch for you.
I want to be a magnolia.
But I can I'll have them email you the information.
Okay.
The board. I'll have her do that
Yeah.
tomorrow.
Thank you.
We will have another
That's what I
meeting.
said.
Yeah,
Yeah,
right
one more,
before.
right?
I'll-
Yeah, when's the
All right.
deadline on that though?
You can get. He'll be fine.
I'll be
Johnny, give the Johnny at it.
I'll bring that to the next meeting.
okay.
Yeah, I just thought we'd think about that.
Any other public comments or board member comments?
No, I don't think so.
Okay, we have a bunch of public here. Let's start at this side of the room here. Please, your name and your address. And
Hi, Johnny.
How you doing?
I'm Paul Kimmel. Residence is 1617 Ohio Street. And I seen your little notice in the paper a couple weeks ago about this date for the board meetings, so that what maybe come here to attend. I have a tree on the right-of-way that is growing nicely, and it's a healthy tree. It's a maple, I believe. And I'm noticing that some of it is starting to go into the roadway, and when I leave my driveway to the apron to the street, it's starting to be a little bit blocked to see. Give you an idea, folks, where I'm at. If you're heading south on Ohio, and you come around Burnham's Glove Factory, around the little bend there, I'm the second house on the right, which is then approaching Barker. So that tree is right there, and that's always a treacherous little bend there, because cars come by there every bit of 30 plus, 40 miles per hour, and I have to really calculate when I pull out there to get my way onto the street. So I'm kind of wondering if there is any opportunity for that tree to be trimmed on the street side.
Okay.
And that would be for visibility and safety purposes, and it is on the right of way. And when the Hell Street project was reconfigured, my gosh, has to be what, 10 years ago? And
Yes.
and they planted those trees. I got my home and then I got an extra lot, and the healthy tree is on the lot side of the right of way. And I had 2 trees in front of my house that either died or got hit by a car, and so there's nothing there anymore. So I had 3 trees allotted to a right-of-way in front of my property, and I only have 1, and I didn't know if there's the possibility of having 2 trees planted on the right-of-way, like originally how it was stated.
Hopefully, if we explain our dilemmas, yes,
Yeah.
and we're trying to get ahead of that. So please call Jessica here, and we will
Got
put
a
you.
business card from you, Jessica?
They're not made yet. I'm that new.
Okay.
But I can.
Can I give you my number?
Do you want to write it down on here for me?
Certainly.
Yeah, certainly.
So that was the main catalyst for
didn't
me to
want-
come
I
today,
didn't
was
know if you
about
wanted
the
everybody-
tree to be trimmed for safety, for
Okay.
eyesight and safety
Right,
value.
right.
And then with the possibility of hopefully having 2 trees that would be replaced from where they originally were.
Right.
And that's the reason I'm here tonight. So I appreciate your time and chance for me to voice what my little...
Sure, yeah.
Well, what I can also do,
This is
873 100.
K-E-M-I-E-L.
I'm located in Central Services, and if he calls there, I'm going to be out of the office for the next couple of days. They will generate a work order that'll come right to me
Oh, perfect.
when I get back.
Perfect.
So that way nothing's kind of lost.
Great. I didn't catch when I was writing stuff, so I should call this number?
Yeah, call Central Services because that's where I am.
And ask for you, Jennifer?
Jessica.
Jessica.
But what you'll likely get is one of my secretaries out front, and they'll generate a work order
Okay.
with everything you just described in it.
Okay.
And then you're in the system, and then I can come when I'm back in town.
Okay.
Check out that tree for trimming.
Okay.
And a lot of times, depending on the size, if my guys can handle it appropriately.
Yeah,
Yeah.
with it being like when the street was reconfigured, that was, we're thinking 10 years ago. So it was planted not as a seed. I don't know if you call it a seedling, but I say when it was first planted, it was.
Sapling.
Yeah. So if you give 10 years of growth, I don't know how you would consider that to be its maturity, or it always matures, of course, but it's not real tall. We need a bucket to trim the top.
Sure,
So I think it would be, if you had one of those poles that just trims off that probably would be the reach.
Okay.
Yeah. So.
Yeah.
But anyway, thank you very much for your time.
Take a look.
And,
Thank you for coming. We
you're
appreciate
welcome.
it. We'll see what we
Okay.
can do. I'm going to give her your phone number
you
for
too.
you
Okay.
too.
All right.
I'll give you
Okay.
your phone number.
Have a good evening, folks.
It would handle a lot of these type of things. So we'll show you how to use it.
Oh, fantastic.
Okay, sir, you're next up.
My name's Carl Babcock. I have property at 202 Gardena Street, Michigan City. It was my mother and father's house, and it got into my name in the early 80s. I have not lived there, but when my father had it, they bought the lot next to it, so there wouldn't be another house there. And there were several trees that he had cut down. And one of the trees was right in the right-of-way of the sewage line going out to the street. And that one interfered with the roots getting into the pipe, because this was in 1950. And they did not put in plastic at that time when my father raised the house and had a full basement, and cast iron was still the thing to use. Now, I went to the service, came back, that was 56 to 60. In 1984, my father died, but before he died, the house was put in my name and my wife's name. My mother lived there until she died in 1999, and my son has lived there since 1999. Now, I had no problem with the sewer backing up or anything all those years. But now, about 8 to 10 years ago, the city came in with beautification and put trees in on the boulevard and between the sidewalk and the street. And lo and behold, they put this one tree right over or within 1.5 feet of the sewer line. And it clogged it up once again. My son moved out, and I got the house back, and I'm trying to get it ready for either to move back or to sell it, and the sewage backed up. And with that in mind, I had Bill Sewer Service come out and route it out, and about 75 feet out towards the street, here's that tree. And he ran into roots there, and he had to back it up 4, 5, 6 times before he got through. Finally, the water that was in the basement, and part of it was sewage, left the house. And in the meantime, we thought the problem was a water department. The water department and the sanitation department are two different things. So the water department referred me to sanitation. Sanitation came out there, and they said you have to do it through a private contractor. Okay. So I had Bill Sewer Service there, and Mike came, and he couldn't get through. And finally we had the sanitation department, big truck came there, and they tried to pressurize it to break it up, but they couldn't break it up. And come to find out, the house there is the first house on the street there that is the city sewage. Even though I'm not on the corner, the other house on the corner gets theirs through York Street, and York Street then turns on Gardena Street, so I'm the first house. And they said if I had been the second or third house, the pressure probably would be greater and it would help the sewage, but that's not the case. So anyway, I had a bill here for $210, which I paid, and I presented it to the sanitation board for them to pay it since it's on city property. and they flat out refused and sent me a letter. And in the letter, it basically says they won't pay it. They say it's against Indiana law, but he says there is a city ordinance allowing removal of if a tree interferes with any underground utility. And I'll be glad to give you a copy of each. So I'm asking for that tree to be removed.
Jessica, if you can run down that supposed ordinance. I don't know anything about it.
Okay, I sure can.
Can I have your phone number, please?
872-9849.
Thank you.
Unfortunately, there's nothing we can do.
You can have them. Give them to Jessica if you don't want them.
Yeah, I can take them. And then I can find that and figure out what our next move will be.
Okay. Typically, something like this here, it's more of a sanitation issue. I mean, the city tree board didn't exactly have anything to put it, or let's say placement of it. That through the years, especially the older the tree are and older the sanitary, the tile, there's always been issues with them, and the city is always kind of, they bring that big old truck out and they deal with it, since it is kind of in that area. So I don't know what to tell you about what
The sanitation letter said right there it's against Indiana law for them to pay.
Oh, they're not going to pay for it.
No.
You're not going to get any money back. I can assure you that.
Now, I don't want the same thing to happen again in 2-3 years from now.
Right.
I want that tree removed.
My recommendation would be contact Amber, the city attorney. They'll get the ordinance. I'm sure the ordinance is correct if they gave it from the sanitation.
That's what I'm assuming.
Then, I feel she'll say, if it's ordinance, then we'll remove the tree for you.
That was my thoughts too. Yeah,
So,
when I talked to him yesterday.
So exactly, just contact the city attorney and this gentleman a call, and they'll get it all worked out for you.
The sanitation board, people came back and they marked where the sewer line goes with green paint right on the street. So it's only about 1.5 foot from my line.
Alrighty, well, we'll take everything under advisement, and thank you for coming by and
And what I'll do is track down this ordinance and then figure out how we can move forward with getting that tree out.
Okay. Thank you very much.
And you've got my number because you called.
Yeah.
Yeah, so check in with me next week. I'll be out of the office for tomorrow, Friday, and Monday, but I'll be back in on Tuesday. And
Well, today's Wednesday.
Today's Wednesday. Yeah, I'm out of town for a wedding, but I'll be back in the office
Okay.
next week.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Jay Slutskin. I'm a business owner at 701 Washington Street. The new was Top Dog. Now it's called Boathouse Grill. There's a couple trees on the south side of our property line, adjacent with our neighbor, that we'd like to remove. I have pictures. I didn't make copies for everybody. I didn't understand how many.
Now, these are on the city right away, or
Nope,
these are on your property?
They're on my property line, adjacent to our neighbor south of us on Washington Street. Sue Downs said that we had to come in front of the board to get the trees.
That one looks like a mulberry, not very good. A lot of the trees that typically we are interested in keeping, I did follow up on some of the emails, but probably more the oak trees and the type of those type of trees out there. I don't know. I can't see if they are oaks or
We're only,
looks like some
only actually wanting to remove this tree that is rotten at the bottom and split, it hangs over our building pretty far. We're concerned about that. And then this one here that is over our dumpster, we're having a hard time with the company removing our dumpster and dumping it. And then also along the driveway, we'd like to do what they called it ground to sky clearing, because we're getting mold and water damage on the shingles because it's so ground covered.
Well, in typical cases like this, you can trim. A good tree trimming would be, especially for the dumpsters, you can lift the canopy up. This is on your dime, so I'm just trying to keep your dime.
I completely understand. We are okay to pay for it, but we're here asking permission to remove the trees with the rot and damage that are split.
I see that, and I'm totally on board with that. That one there. We have the other one there. Yeah, that one definitely. That's a mulberry tree. And it would definitely come over.
This
sooner or later.
Would also be a mulberry tree, the one above the dumpster, I believe.
I can come out and take a look.
I would love for you to. If you want my information, I'll give it to you on paper.
We're like the top dog joint. So
the Boathouse Grill joint.
Okay.
I like that name really well, Boathouse Grill. Yeah.
Yeah, no problem.
So when are you gonna open?
we have maintenance to do before we can do that.
Congratulations. Yes.
We just went by there today and bought it.
They missed all summer.
There's lots of meetings that you have to attend to get things done. So and those are only happen once a month. We're learning.
Like this.
We're learning quite quickly. This is my father-in-law Ben.
Hi, Ben. How are you?
Be happy to, if you want to move on the removal of the rotted one, please feel free. As far as trimming, you can go and trim along there for, obviously, without seeing what some of these are here.
I will wait until you have time to come.
We'll take a look. Okay.
Because I would hate to do something and then, get for that. So
the mulberries themselves, even though they are, it's a source of food for a lot of it. Mm-hmm. I don't want to say the rodents over there, but the squirrels.
It would be helpful to get rid of that too.
The squirrels, the rabbits, the little this, little that. The birds, there is a little bit of a cycle going on there.
Yeah, but he doesn't want those kind of things on his menu.
Just make sure when you do get a tree person to come and remove it, that they are fully insured.
License.
Okay.
Fully
With that being
insured.
said,
Yes.
do you have a list that is
We
out
do.
there that
You know what? Can you give me your email? I'm
Yeah,
happy to
be more
email
happy
it to you.
it's quite easy?
And they have workman's comp and.
There's a whole list of cities.
Yeah. I got a totally new updated one. Printed out lately.
Deb, if you please would send the most updated one to everybody. List of
Oh, she
trees.
probably has. I just haven't printed it out. It's still on my
I had
computer.
one so
Oh, I don't. I have one either.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
emailed every time.
We
so
did.
I
If
can
you stop by chance and I'm not there, there are 2 trees with yellow ribbons around them. We did mark them.
Yeah, we were.
Just in case,
Yeah.
someone has to look and I'm not available or
That's like-
my father-in-law's not available
Yeah,
to
the
be
last,
there.
that's
That way,
February.
it'll give you a visual.
And they're the ones that are
They're
not the
updated
split
since
ones. The split
The
one.
one is split
This is
with the yellow
September.
ribbon, and then there's another one next to it that is like at a
Gotcha. Okay.
huge
And then
angle.
the other one behind the dumpster is obvious.
Yeah, yeah.
I want to know who's the cook in this deal.
That'd be me.
Okay.
That'd be me. So,
This is a new endeavor for you?
yes, yes.
Okay.
Congratulations.
I left a job for 25 years to become a restaurant owner, so
Good.
we'll see how it goes. I hope to see you out at the restaurant.
I'll be there.
Is it going to be a similar?
And hopefully later this month.
Well, you just came before the historic board for your sign.
I did. One a week.
One a-
Yes. And you know, I must say, I went down Elston Street to look at those
Yeah.
lights that you guys had that
Right.
long discussion
Yeah.
about.
Mhm.
They're hideous.
Say no more.
That's all I can say.
I know.
Taking the globes off of them
Yeah,
is
they
hideous.
look, yeah, I agree.
Yeah, so you need to get that fixed. And I'll be at the next meeting if you need me to say that.
All right.
Thank you very much for your time. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming down and being part of it.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Yes.
You too. All right. Well, I'm glad we had a good public.
Yes,
this
we
has
did.
been an unusual type deal.
Yes.
Makes it interesting, doesn't it? Yeah, with.
They heard we had a new forester, so they
That's
just
right.
wanted to see you brought everybody with you.
Years ago, we used to have the place was packed.
Was it
A
really?
2-3 hour meeting. You'd be like, how are we gonna get out of here?
Well, when the council meetings go past 10 o'clock, I'm out of there. It's like, I'm tired.
All righty. Our next meeting date would be October 2nd. Anybody have any issues with October 2nd?
Not that I know of right now.
It's my 10-year anniversary, but I'll be here. We're good.
I'm sure you're doing something every day.
Probably.
All righty. I'll entertain a motion for adjournment.
I move.
Second.
Everybody in favor?
Hi.
All right. Thank you, everybody.